Hello friends and followers, and I hope you are having an amazing day. Today I will be doing a short video on what the things I did before starting my PPL. Firstly, thanks a lot to Mentour Pilot who gave me idea of this video. So if you haven't checked this channel out, please go and check it in the description below, and make sure to stick around and enjoy the video.
Go ahead.
So the first thing I want to let you know is that there are two ways in which you can fund your do your training. There's modular way and there's integrated way. I personally go modular way because you can do it at your own pace. But if you want to find out more about integrated way, I'll put the links in the description, and I'll have another video on modular versus integrated. Now let's talk about financing, which is my first tip of this video. So when calculating finance, you have to calculate the best and worst case scenario of your PPL training, and calculate the budget that you are willing to spend on your training. So best and worst case scenario, in which I calculate the best case scenario when in instance I finished my PPL in just 45 hours. However, calculating the worst case scenario is finishing your PPL in about 65 or 70 hours. So make sure you are willing to spend that much money if needed to. Now calculating budget. So say for instance you are earning about £500 per week, and so out of those 500 you are willing to spend. You have to calculate how much you are willing to spend of that money on your training. So for instance, before I started my PPL, during my holidays I used to work full-time. I started earning about £250 per week, and I decided to take about 2 hours per week, that so at the cost of 160 lessons per hour. So what you have to do is calculate how much you are willing to spend from your earning on the PPL, and for how long you are going to do that. So I know some people who have spent their money, they've taken about 10 lessons in a week, and then put about 2 months gap, and then take another 5-10 lessons, which is not helpful. I advise you to take about 1 or 2 lessons per week. And so taking 1 or 2 lessons per week will mean that you are fresh and won't have to do that much sort of retake. Right, so my second tip is to do your own research. When doing research, you can search about the schools that you are interested in, the schools that have the cheapest rate. However, there might be a case that the school that have cheapest rate, they might make you take about 2 or 3 extra lessons just to cover up their rates. So make sure you do your own research and find out the best schools around you. For instance, I take lessons at Elstree Aerodrome. Right, so when talking about schools, what you can do is you can just type in the school name and type in the reviews of that school, and that's what I did before starting my PPL, and I got lots of reviews from my school and the other schools, and that's the way I decided which school I wanted to do my PPL with. So my third tip, and this is the most important tip, is to actually get the trial lesson. So once you've decided what school you want to do it with and you've contacted them, I advise you to take a trial lesson. So when you take trial lesson, you will get to know the feel of how it feels to be in a small airplane, how the turbulence feels like. And to be honest, I've seen some people who want to do their PPL, but once they actually go on a plane, they actually get so scared that they just want to go down. So actually take a trial lesson and see how it goes before actually paying up front about 7,000. So make sure to take a trial lesson and ask your instructor for more information that you want to know. So my next tip is to when you are going there to take your trial lesson, I advise you to ask your instructor the course of a PPL, so syllabus of a PPL. There is actually a syllabus for a PPL of what to do in specific hours. So for example, first hour you have to do flight experience. Second hour you have to do straight and level flight, climbing and descending. So there is actually a course syllabus that you can find out from your instructor, and before you actually start your first lesson, type in on YouTube straight and level flight, and I'm sure you'll get lots of videos on how to do straight and level flight on X-plane and maybe in a real plane as well. The next thing to do is actually get to know the syllabus of a PPL. In PPL there are 9 exams you have to do, so make sure you actually get to know each one of them. You won't understand them, but just get to know how they work. So for example, when doing your PPL, you'll have a book 1 which is called Flight Training. So buy that book, it's not very expensive, and I'm sure once you have a look at that book, you will get to know the feel of how the horizon in the cockpit will look like when you are descending or climbing or in a turn, and it will give you like specific terms on how you have to demonstrate each maneuvers to actually pass your PPL. So talking about flight lessons, the most important thing I would like you to do, which is what I did, and it's really helpful to me, is to search up VOR and how to track a VOR. Because when I was taking my second lesson, I told my instructor that, oh look, I know how to follow that VOR, and he was like, okay, then take me to that VOR. And that's what I did, and it reduced about 1 or 2 lessons from my flight training because I already knew how to do that. And get an X-plane or a Microsoft Flight Simulator, because it's really helpful when you are practicing your training of what you did. So make sure you have the X-plane and get so for instance, I train on Cessna 152, so I bought a Coronado Cessna 152 from in X-plane. It's about £10. So make sure you buy the plane that you are training on, just to get the feel of how it feels, to get the real feeling of the X-plane. So my next tip is to find a flight school that you are going to do your PPL with. As I said before, the cheapest flight school might not be your best option, but have a look at all the flight schools around you, the nearest airfield, because if you don't have a public transport, if there is no public transport around the flight school and you don't have your own transport, then it is going to cost you money to get there. So in my case, I go to Elstree, and I get a fast Stanmore station, and it costs me about £3 or £4 on Uber. So it's not that expensive in my case, but in your case, if it's far from a nearest public transport, then you may have to think of a different flight school. So once you've chosen your flight school, take trial lessons with 2 or 3 instructors in that school. This will get you more information about their knowledge, and both instructors may teach the same, but the technique of teaching may be different. And one instructor's technique you might learn very quickly, whereas the other instructor you might not pick up as much. So make sure before you start your PPL, make sure you take trial lessons with 1 or 2 instructors up there at your flight school, just to get the feel of how they work with you and how you understand them. So my final tip is to call your flight school up and ask them what equipments they provide you, such as headsets, flight computer. So make sure you ask them what equipments they provide and what equipments you would need to buy in order to successfully complete your PPL. So that was my last tip, and in the next couple of weeks I will be uploading some of the videos for private pilot license training, and what they will teach you. I will teach you on a X-plane, and I will show you on a Cessna 152 as well. So make sure you don't miss that part. And thank you for watching my video, and make sure you have a look at Mentour Pilot's channel. It's a brilliant channel for he's a Ryanair captain, so make sure you don't forget to check his channel out. And until next time, happy flying.